drinking
I'm
coffee.
not telling. My
cafe.
mother is listening. I don't actually know if my mother is listening. She could be listening. But
you
yeah,
love her.
so there you go.
Everything's good.
What? I can't even hear what you're saying.
Tell her you love her and everything's good.
Oh, yes. Mother, I love you. Thank you for birthing me into this world. Lying on that hospital bed for 16 hours. Pushing and straining to get my cranium through your... Okay, let's talk something different.
Yeah.
We are doing something a little different because we're not in the same room.
Yes.
Scotty.
Yes. We probably should introduce ourselves as well. I'm Scotty. I'm still Scotty.
No, he is still Scotty. I am Phlegnon the Terrible from the planet 7052.
Yeah, we had to fire the last
We ran
guy,
out of
so
names
welcome to
after the
Filmers Podcast.
50,000th planet. Yes. Welcome to this podcast. We're probably going to be talking over each other a lot.
Not more than usual.
I feel. Not more than you. Well, I think a little bit more than usual because we're in separate places. Scotty, you're down in Sydney and I'm up here on the Central Coast.
Yeah.
Because the coronavirus.
Welcome to COVID-19. Stay safe, everyone.
Yeah, stay safe and welcome to the new world of
A new world order.
this. Yeah, it is. Well, it is. It's changing how we are doing society on a relatively big scale, I think.
Yeah, it's just funny. Normally when you say new world order, it's like that's the bad thing. In this case, it's not the bad thing. It's the reaction.
It could end up being a bad thing. It could end up being a bad thing. I was reading some reports. But it's not like, I don't think it's something that we should be concerned overly about because we're just trying to do our thing. We're just trying to survive. All we have to do is just go out. Don't steal other people's stuff or don't take too much from the shops because, hello, there's stuff still there.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'll give you a story. I'll tell you a story.
Yes.
Yesterday, I went for coffee to one of my local cafes. I'm actually doing the cycle. I haven't been consistent to one. I've been doing them all because I want to keep them all in business because I'm greedy.
That's fair.
I went to one and I was waiting behind this family. And this family, it's not the kids, it was every single one of them, had no idea about social distancing. And
Fantastic.
I was getting paranoid. And I was just staying at the back, and the guy at the counter was like, "Did you want something?" He's like, "I'll wait." Then afterwards, I came up to him and I just said, "I'm being paranoid." He's like, "Yeah." He said he was that really close to just saying something to him. He's like, normally he's like he wouldn't care, but it's like he gets fined and they get fined if they're not breaching the protocols. So
yep.
Yeah,
I saw this horrible video of this woman who was told that she couldn't sit with. Or like sit in a certain booth that was too close to other people who were already sitting down.
Yep.
And she spat on the worker at the restaurant.
Holy shit.
She spat and she coughed on them.
Wow.
What the shit is wrong with you? That's not how you act. We live in a society. In a society.
I'm just going to have a bite of my almond croissant. Oh, good.
I know what you're doing.
What are we doing this week, Jordan?
Well, not eating croissants, that's for sure. You sick bastard. Don't you give me that eyebrow. He's eyebrowing me at the moment. He's like raising his eyebrows ever so slightly. Little shit. What I was thinking, Scotty, would be a really cool idea.
Oh, really?
And it probably will sound less cool after I say it, but if we had a list of films that we could watch every week for the next 4 months in an effort to count down the weeks until we're able to go back outside.
So a quarantine countdown of movies, you say?
It's fantastic. Well, a good segue. That's great. Yes, a quarantine countdown is what we're going to call it. And you probably already read it because it's probably on the banner.
COVID-19 quarantine countdown. Drum roll,
it.
please.
And the films aren't going to be just top tier movies. We're gonna look at different ones from around the globe, but also ones that maybe aren't so great.
In fact, maybe ones that we walk out of, and by walk out of, I mean press stop and go to a different movie. Because that's life. When you've got Netflix, when you've got Hulu, well, we don't have Hulu. When you've got Stan, yeah, I guess that's okay.
I wish we had Hulu.
You've got Amazon, so let's take advantage of the system. Let's put a stop to bad movies, literally.
Or at least until we run out of internet and electricity goes.
That ain't happening.
Because all of the workers for the infrastructure are dying of COVID-19. And then we'll be plunged into a post-apocalyptic world, which I quite frankly am ready for. I've been not necessarily stocking up on food, but I have some weapons.
Oh, okay.
Like a 2-foot rolling pin.
Oh, that's good.
And
a baseball bat. They're really good.
I used to have a baseball bat, but it's gone. I don't know where. Got legs and walked away.
Don't know why, but I'm sure you'll meet again some sunny day.
I'm not even sure. How come you can hold a note when there's no music, but when there's music, you struggle?
It's actually this thing. It's like if you have headphones and listening to music, you sing flat. And I've never taught myself how not to do that.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Because we did have some struggles with the Eat and Swag podcast. I think that was the longest.
Oh, really?
The longest amount of takes. The longest amount of takes we've done was having you sing with the Frenchman.
That was hard.
Great.
I mean, we were in different locations at the same time as well.
Yeah, but we got through it. Just
Speaking
like
of Eat and
we're
Swag,
going to get through.
Do you want to? Is the episode out? When is it coming out?
Oh man, so I've hit some troubles with the recording. Yeah, unfortunately, there's something up with the playback for the episode. So I've gotten maybe halfway through it, and the thing with recording audio and also editing audio is you need to have a full soundscape to be able to see where all the sounds are coming from and what they're doing and how they're sounding. Otherwise, you can run into trouble once you upload it. You can actually hear that it's not as great quality as you thought it was in the mix.
Yeah,
and
so
of course,
you don't render it. The rendering happens when you upload. You don't pre-render.
No, I pre-render, but the problem is because of the sound issues that I'm hearing through the feedback, I can't accurately get a good sound out of it.
Oh, okay.
Because it keeps changing. The playback for some reason keeps changing, which is an issue. I'm sure it'll be sorted pretty soon.
Yeah,
I'm
you might need to.
I'll be able to figure it out.
I have a few ideas of how to fix it. We can talk afterwards.
Yes, yeah. But we'll figure it out. So it won't be out before this episode, unfortunately, but it will be out in future. It's coming. It's coming, and it's not far off.
And the April episode will be out shortly afterwards. No, I'm just kidding.
Never. It'll never see the light of day. Much like a lot of the stuff we do here in the studio. Yeah. No, I'm sure I'll upload it soon.
Yep.
So today,
the list
to kick off what we wanted to talk about is we kind of compiled a list of different films that we might like to see during this quarantine countdown.
We just basically went through all the websites that we watch movies on and went, oh yeah, that looks nice.
Yeah. We went through them all. So without further ado, shall I read out some of these films?
Yep.
Great. So we have The Godfather. We have Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Gone Girl, The Two Popes, The Prestige, Escape from Alcatraz, Life, Event Horizon, Hush, Don't Breathe, Rampant, Mulholland Drive, I Lost My Body, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Indiana Jones, Tales from Mercy, Demolition Man, Last Action Hero, and a whole bunch of other really shitty action films from the 80s. In Infernal Affairs, Dolomite Is My Name, A Futile and Stupid Gesture, The Babysitter, 7 Years in Tibet, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Kill Bill, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, Heat, No Country for Old Men, From Dusk Till Dawn, Social Network, Anchorman, and Anchorman 2, Deathstalker, Dune, and Breadwinner, among other ones. I think we're going to try
Now, just
and
to
do as
clarify,
well.
the Dune we're talking about is David Lynch. Not
Yes.
not the one we accidentally found. I'm like, hang on a sec. Not the Sci-Fi Channel one, which is somehow worse than David Lynch's
John
one.
Hurt.
And
John Hurt was in that one.
Not the one that's coming out later this year, directed by Denis Villeneuve either.
Which will probably be the best version of it that we've ever seen put to
It won't
cinema.
be hard to be the best version of it.
I will be.
Wow.
But that's beside the point.
Too much information.
Come on, it's Denis Villeneuve. But yeah, so we've got a list that we'd like to go through. And we started this list last time we were together, which was a week ago.
Last time it was not illegal for us to be together.
Yes. Well, it still isn't technically illegal because you can have up to one guest in your house now. It's very limited, but we started on a couple of these films, and one of them two of them we really loved, and the other two we couldn't get through.
Now, I'll tell you the truth. Afterwards, I went back and watched the rest of them, both of them. We didn't miss out on anything.
Right.
If anything, one of them got worse, and one of them just stayed bad. We'll get onto that later.
Oh, that's rough. Do you want to take us through that, Scotty? What films did we watch?
So the first film we watched was The Art of Self-Defense. For those who don't know, this stars Jesse Eisenberg and is directed by Jordan.
No, I didn't direct it. But it's directed by Riley Stearns. And it also stars Alejandro Nivola and Imogen Poots.
Yep.
And I really like this movie.
This reminded me when I first watched The Lobster.
Oh, yeah.
By Greek director whose name I can never pronounce. Lathamos.
I'm not helping you.
I know.
I haven't actually seen that film. I saw his other film, which was the period drama piece.
Yes. Come on, Jordan.
Oh God, I can't. I don't know. It was Rich Person. That's what I'm calling it. It's Rich Person. That's the name of the film now. Yes, The Favorite.
That's it. Well done.
The Favorite. I did it. I got there. I've done it. The Favorite. Yes.
You're not a pure blonde after all.
There is no. Well, I can't be. But I can see the similarities between his work and The Art of Self-Defense.
The style of humor is, well, it's like Woody Allen on steroids. Is that
or Woody Allen on relaxants?
Yeah, maybe. Or just psychedelic drugs of some sort.
It's full on, but it's also really relaxed. Just the mellowness of how they say their words and the jokes they make and just the deadpanness of it all.
Every time they say cut, you can tell they all burst out laughing. It's one of those movies.
Yeah, it would have been
shot,
so
they're just
difficult.
completely deadpan. The dialogue is
fantastic.
extremely well written.
It's good. It's really, really good. And the performances all around were fantastic. Even the actors who I have no idea who they are were great in it.
Yep.
And it's nice to see Nivola in another film where he isn't not doing anything.
Okay.
if you recall seeing him before, you might recognize him from Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, yeah.
Where he plays the young assistant to Sam Neill's character. And he really doesn't get a lot to do in that film. And there's a couple of other films that he's been in where he's kind of just either been in the background or he's been kind of just, there, but not really there. And it's not his fault. It's just the role that he was cast in.
Yeah.
But in this film, oh my goodness, I think he was one of my favorite performances out of the whole film. And that includes Jesse Eisenberg, who's really good, don't get me wrong, but Nivola really kind of steals the show every time he's in a scene with anyone.
I actually have problems picking out a single performance simply because I feel like this is a really well-directed movie.
Yeah.
I don't want to take anything away from the actors, but they're all... It's like a Wes Anderson performance. Like, they're all in line with the director's vision from the get-go and what this film is. And it creates its own brand of comedy, its own brand of tension because of that.
And it's fun to watch. Like, it's weird to say that because it does deal with some pretty heady themes and heavy moments, but I really enjoyed it.
I
It
did
was
too. I will say, for me,
thoroughly
it was
enjoyable.
harder watching that. I love that comedy, but at the same time, I want to take that comedy in breaths. So I like to the movies later on. I went back and watched this again. But even then, I was like, I paused it every 10 minutes, went to get a drink of water, went to the loo, kept watching it because it's like it's full on, in a good way. But I like taking my time with those sort of movies, and for me, the fact that this is a streaming movie was actually a benefit.
Yeah, yeah. Also, while we're on the topic of streaming, it is available on Amazon, which is I think $7 a month right now.
Also, it's free if you have certain other things. There are special deals with Amazon. I'm not sure where and what they are for wherever you might be, but there are deals for Amazon.
Yes, yeah, and Amazon I think has the biggest catalog of known films, if that makes sense. So like more than Netflix, at least here in Australia, more than Netflix, probably more than Stan. I've seen a lot of the stuff.
I think they have more broader, but they have less exclusives that are just unique to them.
Yes, yeah. So get yourself an Amazon account and watch this movie because it's fantastic. I really loved it.
Yeah, I did too.
7 out of 8.
I'll also say I'm a dog person, so certain things that happen in this movie I both love and hate. So I'll leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Say no more, fam. Say no more, fam.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're going to move on?
Yes.
Going to another film?
The next film we decided to try and watch.
Try?
Yeah, well, you see, we're both big Studio Ghibli fans. And
massive Studio Ghibli fans.
We've seen most of his catalogue, but there was one we both hadn't seen. We hadn't realised why we hadn't seen it until we went to see it.
Yes, that is true.
Yes.
In a roundabout way. Yes, it is true. Tales from Earthsea is an interesting watch. I think we got 20 minutes in before we couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, so I'll say this about it. The most interesting things about it were the art style, as usual, because it's a Studio Ghibli film and the art is incredible.
Ghibli, yeah.
And the fact that in the English version, English dub, Timothy Dalton, who's best known as one of the old Bonds, was doing one of the voices. Apart from that, there was absolutely nothing good about it.
Yeah. It was
boring.
Oh, it was a rough watch. It was really rough. I didn't like almost anything about it except for the animation, and things were happening that didn't make any sense.
So, and they never did. So I watched the rest of the movie. Arguably one of the most important characters to this plot, if you can say it has a plot, doesn't arrive until like halfway to 2/3 through the movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
so, well, take me through that. Like it's
so
not
there's a female character who pops up, and the plot's really basic. I'm just trying to describe it without giving anything away because I don't really care about it, and that's a wonderful skeleton of a movie. But what we've got...
You're talking about my skeleton. I've removed my skin. It's really hot here, so I'm now a skeleton, everybody.
Yeah. Whatever you say, Mr. Williams.
Anyway, continue.
Yeah.
Continue.
So thing is, it's actually based very loosely on a collection of stories, Tales from Earthsea. But it's an adaptation. It's not the original. And when you adapt several stories, well, there's this movie called Cats, which is an adaptation of several stories. Well, it's a theatre play originally. And you know what we think about that? Or the world thinks about that?
No, I loved it. It was fantastic. It's a beautiful thing that they've done. I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that with straight.
Couldn't lie to yourself.
It was rough, man. It was rough.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie about that.
No, the problem with Tales to Earthsea is the plot doesn't make sense. None of the characters make sense. None of them are likable.
None at all.
It never sets up its own rules. So you know how some fantasies there's clear rules. There's hard, like some are hard magic, some are soft magic.
What's going on?
what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They
this
tell
doesn't
you what's
really have
going
any
on,
of
and
that.
this one doesn't do that at all.
No.
And it's just terrible.
Yeah, so if you're looking for Studio Ghibli film, don't watch Tales from Earthsea, whatever. There are better ones out there. Watch Castle in the Sky. Watch Princess
Honestly,
Mononoke.
any of the other ones.
Any
of the other ones are
Ariaki.
better than this. There's no, it's not a high, unfortunately, not a high bar. It wasn't really great. Apparently, according to the original writer, Ursula K. Le Guin, I think that's how you say it.
Yep.
She had signed a deal with the knowledge that Miyazaki Sr. was going to be directing.
And it was not.
And it wasn't him. He passed it on to his son, Goro Miyazaki, and that's where the trouble kind of started. It kind of seemed like they weren't really interested in making the film to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, this often happens with studios where they purchase or are given a intellectual property, and they have it for only. I mean, I think Fantastic Four is probably the best example where there've been several Fantastic Four movies, but none of them have been a really good Fantastic Four movie.
None of them have been fantastic.
No.
But yeah, it's not a good film. I really didn't like it. Other people might. If you did like it, please write in and abuse us.
Well, I mean, it does have the positives that all Ghibli films have. The animation is gorgeous.
Yes. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the animation.
Yeah. But
everything else.
It is clearly in the worst movie that the studios have made.
It's kind of like, I see it as a relationship. I see it as kind of like the difference between a beautiful animated film and its lackluster story is that it's kind of like how you like a toxic relationship might be, where you know, the douchebag husband buys his wife pretty flowers but abuses her verbally every time they see each other. Like it's the flowers don't counteract the toxicity underneath. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. And if anything, it just means the animation itself is then worse because of the connotation, the rest of it.
It's a bit of a waste of time, really, at the end.
Because especially with these movies, each frame is a wonderful painted. Like if you see original Star Wars Ralph McQuarrie paintings, they're amazing. Well, this has the same thing where there's these gorgeous paintings, but they're in a movie that's bad, therefore they have less value.
Yeah, Star Wars was really shit. dropping bombs. So do we want to move on from Tales from Earthsea?
Well, we moved on very quickly from Tales to Earthsea.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about Tales from Earthsea. We want to talk about a futile and stupid gesture.
Which is a futile and stupid watch.
Yes. I'm looking it up now, so if people are listening to my keyboard at home, that's what it is.
To be fair, I don't think it was as bad as Tales from Earthsea, but...
No, it wasn't.
This is a Netflix movie.
It had direction.
And, well, it's about the creator of the National Lampoon and his brand of comedy. He also created Caddyshack and... Wow, I forgot the name of the other movie he made.
Yes. Just National Lampoon.
It's called National Lampoon Movie.
I don't know.
Well,
he did
has an all-star cast as well.
Yes, it did. Douglas Kenny is the man's name that Will Forte is playing. And it was Animal House and Caddyshack, along with a bunch of National Lampoon films that came out. But yeah, the actual film, A Futile and Stupid Gesture, it's funny, but it doesn't work.
No, it has a weird plot structure, and we stopped before the end, and the ending actually makes it even worse. So,
well, the plot structure for this film, it makes sense up until about halfway, and then halfway through the film, they kind of just go off the rails, and not for a good reason.
No, so the film
kind of like
feels like it's
very
building
boring.
Up to change, never changes.
Yeah,
I feel, and there's drama in the background, so you think that drama is going to come forefront at one point and lead to another joke or something important. Well, no, the drama just sort of drags the comedy down.
Yeah, and it's unsatisfactory. Like there's a weird tonal change here and there that happens when they're trying to take it serious.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is they're not making that shift strong enough, and so it comes out of nowhere and it hits the audience, and it doesn't really have the desired effect because you're still not sure whether this is supposed to be funny or serious.
Yeah, it does that right up until the end. The ending does the exact same thing where they actually change the truth just for.
Yeah.
I mean, it's called a futile and stupid gesture, and I think it's maybe living up to its name a bit too much.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the biggest like things that like why this is not a good way to do a film, for a majority of reasons, but one of the big ones is that if you aren't focused enough on telling the story that you want to tell, or you're not devoted enough to telling the story you want to tell, it doesn't matter what you do with it, it's going to fall flat in the end. Nobody's going to really give a shit about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not satisfying, and you don't end up not caring. And what's worse is this film feels like you should care about it, but you don't.
Yeah, and that's the big problem. I mean, if they committed to the whole let's not give a shit and let's just make fun of everything, then I think it would have been a better film. But because they're trying to get people to care in certain moments, it falls flat. And
what's funny is I was watching a documentary on Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail, and why it works. And the reason it works is because they actually take the time, even though you might not realize at the time, to set up the world, even though it's not set up perfectly. Like they cut corners, like where are the horses? Well, they're coconut shells. But the peasants are peasants. They're dirty. They're grimy. There's a clear class struggle in the movie in a comedy that breaks the fourth wall constantly,
from beginning to end as well. But that is a big part of what Monty Python was.
Yeah,
they never
kind of get away with it, but also they still have context. Everything has its own context in relation to itself and film as well, which is why that film works as well.
And they were focused as well, and they weren't buying into the other side of fame and fortune. They were still connected to their roots, and because of that, that also makes it work. Whereas I feel a futile and stupid gesture is kind of a bit disconnected from reality a bit too much, to a point where the characters aren't even identifiable as real people, or even just cardboard cutouts. They're not even identifiable as that. It's kind of just like they're not committed enough to the idea or committed enough to the film itself to actually say, yes, this is what we're doing. It's kind of like they're just feeling their way through and hitting certain notes that are great and other notes that are bad, but they're still sticking with it. And it's a little bit disappointing because I love Will Forte, or however you want to say his name. And I also
I love a lot of people involved. It's just
there's a lot of great actors and a lot of great people involved with this, but it doesn't really happen.
And I'll say this: I don't think it's any of the actors' performances that ruin it. It's really just basic plot structure and the story the film is trying to tell doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't at all. Again, do we want to say anything more on this, or?
Well, I think it lives up to its name. I think that's the best way to put a futile and stupid gesture. If you're interested in National Lampoon and you want to watch something mediumly amusing while eating tea, it's all right. There are probably better things out there. It's on Netflix.
Well, I mean, a better one out there definitely is the 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yes.
Segue. 40-Year-Old Virgin is great. It's and it still lives up. I mean, this film came out back in 2005. So it's 15 years ago, which is kind of a bit crazy, really, when you think about how long it's been.
Oh well. When did Bruce Almighty come out?
2004.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think that,
2003.
For me, that's the
like
thing. Is from that period, it's not the comedy I remember. like that stood out to me. Like I think of Anchorman, I think of Bruce Almighty, I think of even Napoleon Dynamite, although that's a very different movie. Like
Mm,
those from when I was a youth, those are the movies that we would watch again and again for American comedies. Like I
yeah.
watched the 40-year-old version. It's like, but I guess maybe it changes, get older, and well, not really. Still, there are some great moments in 40-year-old version. So it was good to see it again.
Yeah. Yeah. I friggin' love the 40-year-old virgin more than I remembered I did. Because not only is it funny, but its
Yeah, it is fun.
story structure is on the ball the whole time. Like it never deviates from the story it's trying to tell. And that's the biggest difference between this and A Futile and Stupid Gesture is that the 40-year-old virgin commits to its choices and doesn't back down from that.
Yeah.
Whereas A Futile and Stupid Gesture kind of takes the easy way out and just kind of floats all over the place and kind of goes over here and I'll do this and then I'll go over here and I'll do that and haha,
Also,
voila, a
it
movie.
takes advantage of its actors. So Steve Carell is allowed to be Steve Carell. Seth is allowed to be Seth. They're allowed to do their own gimmicks. What's her name from Glee is allowed to be herself as the boss.
Yeah.
Like they take full advantage of the characters they're given, and they add to the overall plot and the comedy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like every actor does something and they have that moment where they can have their own scene almost. Like Paul Rudd in this is just hilarious.
This is arguably, I think, Paul Rudd's funniest film.
Oh, like, funniest performance. One of the funniest performances he's been in.
What's he fighting with? Role Models or Anchorman?
Anchorman is friggin' hilarious.
Yeah, well,
him and Anchorman. 60% of the time, it works every time. And he's great. And
my favorite moments in the 40-year-old virgin are probably the when he goes to the sex place discussion group. Because there's some great cameos, but also just the whole scene's hilarious. And it's just the camaraderie he has with his friends. Like there are some great moments that they're built up. I think this is the other thing. Is like he builds up relationships throughout the whole movie. It's not just with the girl he eventually gets with; it's with his coworkers as well. When he starts the movie, he's a loser.
Well, he's not friends with anyone at the very beginning of this film. He's just kind of coasting through life, riding his bike to work, doing his job, and then coming back home, and occasionally having friendly chats or conversations with his upstairs neighbors, where they talk about reality TV. And it's really nice to see him develop as a character.
Yeah.
Which is something that you don't really get to witness too often.
No. I will say this as well. I think Steve Carell had several bad movies afterwards, but most of them did like okay. Because Steve Carell's just such a nice guy. He's got a great charisma.
He's watchable.
He's watchable, yeah. It's like, why do people love The American Office? Is because Steve Carell, as horrible as his character can be, is somehow still likable.
Because he's so innocent. Like he brings this innocence to the role. It's the same with the 40-year-old virgin. The Andy in the 40-year-old virgin is so innocent that a lot of the stuff he does and a lot of the stuff he says, we excuse him for because of that level of innocence that Steve Carell plays him with, and it's really funny to watch. Another fantastic actor in this, who I don't think we see much of now, is Romany Malco, who plays Jay.
Yeah.
The loud.
I was like, well, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, I know where everyone else is, but what's he doing now?
Yeah, exactly. Because we've got, we got Paul Rudd, obviously, Seth Rogen. Elizabeth Banks is in this as like a really short kind of cameo role.
She's a thought.
Jane Lynch is also in this. Kat Dennings. All these people have gone on to big things, and Romany Malco has kind of just disappeared into the, which is it's a little bit unfortunate. Like I'm sure he's still doing stuff, but I'd like to see more of him out there because he is very funny.
I think they're all funny. Which is why it works, and they're all funny in their own way. They all have their unique characters.
I love one of my favorite scenes. One of my two favorite scenes is the one where Jay is watching a horror movie while trying to give Andy advice.
Yeah.
And he's just intercut with like, "Oh man, you can't be doing this. You gotta, oh no, bitch, get out of the way, get out the way, get out the way." And just watching the dichotomy of him switching between those two modes of mindset. And then one of my other favorites was when you've got Seth Rogen's Cal trying to get a connection with Andy, and he's talking about how he and his buddies went to Mexico and watched a woman have sex with a horse, and they were so excited about it at first, and they got there and they were like, "Oh, this is actually really bad. This is horrible. I hate this." And
then it cuts to Steve Carell talking about how he made potato salad. Oh, well, no, he was going to make an egg sandwich and he failed at making an egg sandwich and he spent 4 hours on it.
Yeah.
Just the contrast makes everything. Yeah.
And then he decided not to eat it.
Yeah. He didn't have bread.
It's so good. I love it. Fantastic. So we've been talking for about 40 minutes now. Ish. Or a little less than 40.
Well, that's 4 movies, 40 minutes. It's pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. What film do we want to see next?
So, this is where we reach out to the audience and we say, watch along with us. I think some movies that are on that list that I'd like to see again are The Godfather.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, we've lost him. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O. I think we're frozen.
There we go, now he's back.
Oh, we're back, okay. Sorry, people, technical difficulties. You never noticed anything. Nothing went wrong. So yeah, you'd like to watch maybe The Godfather. Parts 1, 2, 3.
I saw it at the beginning of this year.
Okay, that's good. Well, maybe
fresh.
One thing that I've watched and you haven't is Two Popes. So maybe you want to watch Two Popes.
Actually, too late. Already watched it.
Oh, okay. So we can watch Two Popes. Well, next week we'll talk about Two Popes.
Excellent. Next week we're talking about Two Popes. Let's take a little bit of a break now.
Yep.
And we'll be back after this next segment.
Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Well, everyone, we're getting a special message right now from our special correspondent, Father Deirdre Globowitz.
Hello?
Hello, is this Father Globowitz?
Hello?
Where are you right now?
What?
Where are you right now, Mr. Globowitz? Father Globowitz, can you hear me?
I'm in the bathroom.
Why are you...
I'm in the bathroom.
Why are you in the bathroom, Father Globowitz?
I'm doing a number 2.
Great. Lovely. Thank you for that. Okay, so you are our special correspondent. So, Mr. Globowitz, can you tell us... That is your name, right, Mr. Globowitz?
Who is this?
This is the Film Roast podcast. You know, you're our special correspondent.
Is that Jimmy from the pizza joint downstairs?
Yes, this is Jimmy. Can you let us in?
I'll have a number 5.
Okie dokie.
With olives.
Extra pepperoni?
All the pepperoni you have.
Okay, but first, before we give you the extra pepperoni, can you tell us, what was your favorite movie this week?
Oh, my favorite movie of all time. Of all time.
Yes.
Of all time was the 40-year-old virgin.
Oh, the 40-year-old virgin. How
The
strange.
40-year-old virgin
What a coincidence.
is a story about a man,
Yes. Well,
and that's it.
that's it? Are you sure? Can you give us a
A
brief...
man
Why don't you give us a
and
brief
his bike.
outline in your own words of the
A
40-year-old
man
virgin?
and his bike travel around searching for a place to masturbate.
Right.
And they find it
Yes?
in a TV store.
Okay.
I'm not saying this is a good place to masturbate, because I've tried it, and let me tell you, it is no walk in the park.
Well, no, that
Trying
would be
to
in the
cover
park.
up in a TV store. It reminds me of my time in politics.
You were in politics, Father Globowitz?
I was in politics a very long time ago, and I was trying to get more money so I could buy my own TV store to masturbate in.
Oh, I see. Let me just double check, Mr. Globbs. You have actually seen the 40-year-old virgin. Is this correct?
I have not seen the 40-year-old virgin,
Oh,
but I did
okay.
read a fantastic plot synopsis on Wikipedia.
Okay. Which you definitely
And
read,
it was
correct?
fantastic and beautiful and heartwarming. The way a man searches for a place to masturbate really spoke to me.
I was going to ask what appealed to you about this movie. You haven't seen,
Definitely
but
the masturbating.
yes, I gathered that.
I can't stress that enough. It's the most important part of the whole movie.
Okay. Is that why you think he was called the 40-year-old virgin? Is that he was likely to masturbate in public constantly?
I'm not saying that there's a correlation between the two, but it's very difficult not to see it. Especially when you're trying to masturbate in a TV store. All the cameras around looking at your little wee-wee sticking out there. Jane Lynch looking over your shoulder. I tell you, it's a hard life.
Did you like Jane Lynch's performance in the movie?
Oh,
Jane Lynch, did you like her performance in the movie?
what? I've never heard of this Dame Tinch before.
Okay. Well, thank you, Father Globowitz. We'll be sure to call you next week.
Bikes and what?
We'll be sure to call you next week about our next movie of the week.
What movie?
You know what? I'm just going to hang up now, Mr. Globowitz, and we'll go back to the studio.
Where's my pizza? I want my pizza.
And we're back.
Ooh, we're back.
We're back.
Well, that was a wonderful, delightful interview, Jordan.
It was fantastic. We're gonna try and get more time of him. Yeah, we're gonna get kind of more time with him in the following episodes. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. And thank you for conducting the interview, Scotty.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I had to step out for a little bit, but yeah, no, it was good, fantastic. So the next films that we want to, whoa, I went off mic a little bit there. So the next films that we want to watch. Listen to what? You don't listen to movies. You watch them.
This is great quality.
It's fantastic quality. The memes. So
Listen to the movies, films we're listening to. Not watching at all. We're just listening to them.
Shut up! Shut up. The next one that we want to do is The Two Popes.
Yep, Two Popes, Godfather, and maybe another comedy.
Yeah, so two Popes, The Godfather, and how about The Hangover?
The Hangover. Okay, yeah, why not?
Let's watch The Hangover. So this is your homework for the week. Two Popes, The Godfather, and The Hangover. And then we'll see where
join
we're
us
at
next week as we visit this motley collection of movies.
Exactly. So thank you guys. Also, I'd like to apologize for the fact that we haven't been on air for the last couple of months.
Oh, whose fault's that?
Scotty's
Yeah,
Scotty's been picking up
totally.
more work. He's been working. He's been basically living at work and ignoring his duties. He's got a little. He lives in the fridge at work in a little. What do they call
You
those?
see, I would blame the editor, but I know the editor will just edit me out. So
Yeah, he will, unless he feels lazy or guilty.
that's pretty likely too.
No, it is mostly my fault. I've been really under the pump lately. I've been working.
We've had, for those who aren't aware, before COVID-19 even kicked in, Australia was suffering from bushfires, really bad.
Yes.
So things haven't exactly been easy around here. In fact, many recorded, unreleased things have basically said the same thing over and over and over again. So
Yeah, it's been a bit difficult because I've also been working pretty much every day, and when I'm not working, I'm also studying pretty much every day.
that's the way life works.
Yeah, that's life, guys. That's life. Get used to it. But we're trying to get back into the swing of things, trying to get some stuff done. And yeah, so you'll hear more of us. Also,
As we all survive COVID-19 together.
Yes, that sounded really good.
Let the world unite behind the silver screen.
You should do a voiceover for a COVID-19 trailer.
Coming, hopefully not for much longer, is the disease COVID-19.
Excellent. That's fantastic.
Well, until next time. Sorry.
Yes. And I'm Jordan, and thank you guys for listening. We'll catch up with you guys next time.
Bye-bye.
Love you. Bye.